If food, water, and air keep us alive, when we sleep 8 hours a night, it's only air. Our body literally breathes for us. And anytime I think about this, it sucks. But when you start consciously thinking about breathing, it's frustrating because now you're stuck.
Hey there, I'm Ashley, mom of four and creator of Reps and Redemption. Join me as I share my passion for health education, explore all things fitness and nutrition, plus share a little faith-filled homemaking along the way. If you're a mom ready to build strength and live a life of epic redemption, this podcast is for you. Let's get after it.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Reps and Redemption. I am here with Mike Feldstein, and he is going to share with us a lot about what he does and how we as moms can live a healthier, more holistic life. Hey, Mike, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am doing great. I'm glad you had a stellar day so far. You were telling me about it before we started. So what's on your plate this week? What's going on? And tell us about, who you are and what you do.
Well, on my plate this week, this morning, I actually spent the morning chatting with a really good film company, a couple in Austin here, who is making a healthy home documentary. They've done some amazing work before with Vinny Chase in Entourage. I think his real name's Adrian. Called Earth Speed or Earth Seed. And they're doing another one that's all about the indoor environments and how homes are making people sick. Wow. So I was sort of looking at their expert panel and consulting them and just talking about ways to make that impactful. And that is at the most important thing to me is like a lot of people, which is really important as well, but focusing on good food, good water, good habits. And the area that I like to focus on most is good indoor environments, and also kind of bringing some humor and sensibility to it all, because often people either think mold is nothing, or they think mold and I'm using mold as a placeholder, but mold is going to kill you and you need to demolish your whole house and move out. And these are two extreme approaches. And I think that with most of these environmental things, it can be so overwhelming and so daunting, but finding sort of balance, practical, small steps that people can take to not be overwhelmed. Because if everybody tries to do everything perfect all at once, then we're going to get nowhere quickly. Right. So that was today. My background, generally speaking, about a decade ago, I got into, before that, I was in online marketing out of school, and that lasted a little bit. Most of my clients had construction companies and home services, and I got to see how poorly their businesses were run. And it was very annoying going to sleep at every night, focusing on everybody else's business when I had no control over actually changing things. Wow. So in 2013, when I was 23, I'm 33 now. And I got into starting construction companies after natural disasters. So floods, hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires, everything from California wildfires, Hurricane Harvey in Houston, Carolina, lots of work in British Columbia and Alberta in Canada. So there'd be a flood, there'd be a fire, there'd be a power outage, there'd be a hailstorm. I used my marketing expertise coupled with my newfound environmental and construction expertise, which took a while to develop, to basically respond quickly, use local talent, and help repair and restore and clean up after disasters. Typically, when there's a flood or a fire, you call your insurance company. They send out a company. I found this to be a huge conflict because that company is very motivated. They want to make money, but if they do too much work and they open the can of worms, then that insurance company is going to cut them off. So our positioning was, let's put our money where our mouth was. And it was, we don't get paid if you don't get paid. If your insurance company doesn't pay you, we get nothing. We'll help you get it. And now our interests are aligned. So the more work that we do to restore your home, the more we get paid, the better it is for you. And I just like when the incentives are aligned with everything. So I did that for several years. And then I got a firsthand picture into how sick people would get after wildfires. Wow. And how that would last, like babies in the hospital. Everybody was on nebulizers, pulmonologists and pediatricians absolutely slammed. And you just see on the news the wildfire smoke. But what you don't realize, it's all the stuff you can't see and you can't smell that makes people sick. So I got into the wildfires has ended up where I have the most experience cleaning up smoke damaged homes. So not necessarily like a kitchen fire or a dry event fire, but a city is evacuated. Every house is extensively contaminated with smoke. Our job was to go and clean and fix those homes. And a perfect story about a family in Fort McMurray that kind of was the aha moment for what I do now. There was a family, we cleaned their house after the wildfire. Then they moved back in. A week later, their little baby was in the hospital. And we're like, huh? We checked the air before we left. What's going on? So we went back to their house. We checked the air and it was heavily contaminated again. So what happens is after a big fire, the air quality can stay poor for a few months with all the stuff you can't see or smell. So you clean the house and then the smoke re-enters the house. That's where your air is coming from. And there's a little term called nose blind. And the best example for that is, let's say you're out by the campfire. It's all good. Make your s'mores, sing your songs, go inside to shower. You're like, I stink. My hair, my clothes, my everything. But when you're by the campfire, you have no idea. Right. So this applies to so much. And I was like, I called the insurance company for this family and I'm like, what are we going to do here? And they basically said nothing. They said, you clean the house, we're going to pay you. The family signed off, like, we're done. And this was very discouraging and disappointing because I'm like, but their baby's in the hospital. Right. They can't move home. What do we do? So I brought our big air cleaning machines called air scrubbers. They look like somewhere between a subwoofer and a photocopier. They're big, they're loud, they're industrial, they're ugly, but they're effective. Right. And we set them up. And within 3 hours, the air quality was back to safe, habitable levels. Family moved home. A couple months later, we took it out, all good. But this was happening to a lot of families. Wow. I'm like, is there something? And then I learned that like they have wildfires all the time out west. So I'm like, maybe instead of leaving our big, heavy, industrious equipment there, I could just go to Home Depot, go to Best Buy and buy them like 4 or 5 air purifiers to put around their house. I did that and it did nothing. And I'm like, whoa, the machines that we're using are not the same as these things. And the analogy I like to use is, most consumer air purifiers, it's kind of like trying to heat your bathtub with a kettle. So a kettle is awesome at heating water for tea, right? Not for a bathtub. If you keep filling it up, that bathtub is going to lose its heat faster than you could possibly heat it up. And that's the same with the little air purifier. The air is getting contaminated and more dirty air is coming in faster than they can clean it. So I kind of realized like, this wildfire smoke thing is a big problem. And it's not just when it's evacuated, it's all the time. And pretty much the whole country was impacted this year with it. And then pollen, mold, smoke, allergens, it's all the same stuff. It's stuff in our air that comes in our homes, gets in our carpets, in our beds, in our clothes, in our insulation. And I was like, there has to be a better way. We need something that is powerful. Like I said, pretty like a Dyson, quiet like a Tesla, and powerful like our industrial air scrubbers. And if you don't hit the trifecta, if it's loud and if it's ugly, people unplug it. Right. So it took me about 3 years, spent a lot of time in Asia where the air quality is very bad, but the air awareness is very strong. So you would like when you go to a bank in Asia, every single little office has an air purifier. Most restaurants have air purifiers. The malls have air purifier stores. They're way more advanced because it's been a bigger problem for longer, but the air here is getting worse, pollution, wildfire smoke, etc. So I set out on a journey to create a product that would be an air purifier specifically for wildfire smoke. COVID happened right before we launched, and we ended up only selling to doctors and dentists for the first year, which was important, but it was frustrating because we were basically on their to-do list. Like they needed it to open up their doors, but they bought it for all the wrong reasons. They bought it for marketing, to make the patients feel safe, to make the staff feel safe, not because they really cared. Right. So this was not a fun business to run at all. Like I did not set out to have a medical air purifier. But then the patients started asking questions about it. Hey, my kid has asthma. My kid has allergies. My child won't sleep. Do they sell these for homes? And they would contact us. We would discount them tremendously. So now fast forward a couple of years, and now 99% of our customers are families, are homeowners. So if I had to tie that up into a bow. It was kind of construction, disaster, wildfire, saw a huge gap in the market that there was not really like commercial grade air purifiers that look good and were quiet for the home. And my overall expertise are all around air quality and how indoor environments impact people. So we can focus moms to be, new moms, kids, and all that good stuff.
I love that. When we were talking about this and you were kind of explaining what you do, I think what really is standing out to me too is that we don't really think of what we can't see. And you help that problem. And you have a solution for that problem. And my question to you, man, I have like a list now. Can you say that again? You said as quiet as a Tesla. What was your
I
theme?
said pretty like a Dyson, quiet like a Tesla, and powerful like our industrial air scrubbing machines.
Yes. Okay. I that is
The
amazing.
other way of thinking about it is in the market there was pickup trucks and tractor trailers, which was like the industrial stuff, and then there was golf carts, and the market needed a luxury SUV to take your kids, take your stuff, and look good while doing it.
No, that's perfect. And I do think it matters because if it is like huge clunky thing and you don't really understand what you're trying to do with it, people are not going to use it. They're going to turn it off. But you solve this problem, especially when COVID hit, and then a lot of people saw how is it really large? You said the size. Is it like
It's about 30 inches tall. Well, I know you don't use video. That's it behind me.
oh, okay, perfect. I can
So we made it. It's about a little under 3 feet, about 30 inches tall, 12 inches in diameter,
nice.
and you can't see now, but there's a screen on the top that shows you the air quality in real time. So as soon as we start cooking or cleaning, or if I barbecue 40 feet from the back deck, it will turn from green to red. The fan speed will go up. You'll see the air in real time, and you'll watch it come down.
Huh.
So we designed it to, there's no big bright logo on it. It's designed to like, and it can go in the corner. So it's designed to like be subtle
Mm-hmm.
but be complementary to your design. If it's a big, loud, ugly air conditioner, you're never going to use it.
Right.
So that was a really important part of it, and it's made from steel, not plastic. So
Mm.
like I wasn't even going to launch a company. I just wanted to create the product that I wanted for me, my friends, my family, and then COVID happened, and it kind of became a thing. So here
Wow,
we are.
yeah. I mean, obviously a lot of families and doctors' offices needed you. Well, how do you test air quality? Like, do you use your device to test, or is there kind of like a 2 or 3 step program that you use to test the air quality before you were to treat something?
Yeah, it's a great question. So some people there's a range, and it's tough because typically either the tools are either biased towards false negatives or biased towards false positives.
Mm,
So, if think about it, if you were follow the money, show me the incentives and I'll show you the outcomes. If
right.
you look at the ones that the insurance companies endorse and sponsor, they lean towards false negatives because
Mm,
they want the house to be cleared. Family moves in, they stop writing checks. It's done. If you
right.
look at the ones that the restoration companies or the naturopaths use, they skew towards false positives
Mm,
because more detoxing, more construction, more remediation, more cleaning. It's a huge alignment of incentives issue, a lot of biases. And honestly, it's like not to like any one person's fault because the naturopaths got who do you think educated and sold them the test kits? Like
mm,
if the tests that were positive were really good for their detox protocols. Probably over 1,000 tests that I've seen. There's a test called an Environme for the house, and there's a lot of tests now that are urine tests to check for mold mycotoxins in your blood. I've
wow.
never seen one come back negative ever.
Wow,
So
interesting.
mold, the thing about air, it's almost exactly like water.
Mm,
Water is to fish, air is to humans.
mm.
We live in air, so
Yes.
we're so unaware of it. It's the first thing we do when we're born. It's the last thing when we do when we die. If food, water, and air keep us alive, when we sleep 8 hours a night, it's only air. Our
Mm,
body literally breathes for us. And anytime I think about this, it sucks. But when you start consciously thinking about breathing, it's frustrating because
oh
now
yeah.
you're stuck.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm there right now. So now we
Yeah.
have to consciously breathe and see how annoying it is. So super grateful for this body that is able to breathe autonomously without me consciously doing it. And I think that's a lot of times why we take it for granted because it's an automatic function. And so to answer your question of how do you test? So the question is, when someone like, there's some things that may or may not actually require testing, like table stakes, like with water. You could move into a house and test the water, but like filtering your water is kind of a good idea no matter what. With air, it's kind of the same, and almost all roads lead to the same place. But data is powerful. And the best part about testing is our bodies actually have all the air testing features built in. We just aren't aware. So I can go into a home and I can tell you within a few percentage points, what's the CO2, if there's mold. I can tell you, think about it this way. Like if you had to guess the temperature, forget checking the weather. We all check the weather, we check the temperature. But if you just go outside, you guess within a degree or two what the temperature is every time. So our temperature sensors in our body, in our skin, are calibrated because we look at the weather often. If you looked at the relative humidity every day, inside and outside, like I can do the same thing with the humidity. Right now, I can tell it's about 47, 48, maybe 50% humidity. Because, if you look at the data and you feel it on your skin, you calibrate it. That's just a number to tell you how you feel. If you go into a rainforest, it's going to feel damp and muggy. If you go into the desert, it's going to feel dry. Guess what? That's because you have a temperature sensor in your body. For humidity. Obviously, we all know about temperature. CO2, if you go into a building and it feels stuffy and you're like, I need to go outside and get fresh air, that's because your body's saying the CO2 levels are high right now. This is a problem. I need to go where the CO2 is lower and the oxygen is higher. So we have a CO2 sensor. We don't have a carbon monoxide detector, and that's why we need them in our house, because we can die if we leave the car running or leave the stove on. VOCs are a little bit tricky as well. But you can smell garbage, you can smell poop, because that's like a lot of bacteria. And your body knows, like, the point of bad smells is it's your body being like, get me away. This is harmful. So it's really amazing. I'm fortunate that I've tested thousands of homes and I've now calibrated my sensors. I've elevated my air awareness. So I can go into a restaurant right away, be like, particulate matter is high, VOCs are high, odors are bad, like CO2 is high. I need to go sit outside now. Most people are just only operating with their temperature sensor. It's hot, it's cold. It's hot, it's cold. I'm like, you're just scratching the tip of what you're capable of sensing. So that to me is like the most awesome. When you could calibrate that and lead through your own feeling and your own intuition, we got these systems on board. Now with testing, you can go out and hire an air testing company. I owned one for many years. An air testing company could cost you between $300 and $3,000.
Wow.
And it only costs us at the lab $22 per sample. So the margins are excellent. That's why it's a good business. But so testing for mold is not a bad idea if you're concerned. But typically, often if it's moldy, it smells moldy. This is not an absolute. So if someone's getting sick and feeling unwell at home, they might want to do some testing. So it depends where you are on that scale of how you feel and how your health is doing. But if someone's trying to optimize, let's say their sleep, there's actually a company that I don't like, but I do like their product. I just don't like their service and their warranty and how they communicate. It's really annoying, but it's a good product for a good price. And it's called Aware, AWAIR, Aware Element. It's like $150-ish. And you put it in your bedroom. And the crazy thing is air is always changing. So testing your air Tuesday at 2:00, well, Wednesday at 9:00, your air will be entirely different. It's completely dynamic. So there's little air sensors that will detect CO2 and particulate. And CO2 is a big one because most homes, especially in America, Canada, in the West, they're so tight. They're designed to be energy efficient. So what that means is they're trying to keep the cool in the summer and the warm in the winter. But that means it keeps everything in: the pollen, the mold, the dust, the VOCs, the off-gassing, the cooking particles, everything. So, when it's a nice day, it's not too hot, it's not too cold, open your windows, turn on your bathroom fan, turn on your range hood. Fresh air is more important than clean air. The problem is our cities are so polluted that the air outside is not necessarily that fresh. Right. So I think a cool place to start for people is a little air sensor. Leave it in your bedroom for a few days. You could put it in your kids' room for a few days. At night, door shut, we breathe out carbon dioxide. you'll see the CO2 levels can go crazy. Particulate, like when you cook 4,000 square foot house, for example, when you cook within minutes, every single room in that house is contaminated because your HVAC system is designed to mix and spread air. Like another crazy thing is a lot of people aren't allergic to cats. They're allergic to cat litter and it's misdiagnosed as a cat allergy.
Oh, interesting.
Cat litter is go look at the ingredients in your cat litter. It's all these chemicals. And when your cat uses the litter box, you can smell it everywhere. It goes into your HVAC system. So you're just breathing all these chemicals. So if someone either has good ventilation or a better cat litter or air purification, like all of a sudden you can stop breathing the cat litter and it can be really impactful. So yeah, with testing, I would say a little air sensor that you move around the house is a good place to start. But ultimately, like cleaning the air in your bedroom and in your main, like I wouldn't spend thousands on testing unless you really are sick and you need to do a deep dive, because like you, for that same few $1,000s, you could just equip your house with the stuff that you're going to be recommended anyway.
The cat thing, I'm allergic to cats. Okay. So now that you say that, I'm wondering, I never really thought about the cat litter and then how you said the HVAC system circulates all the air throughout your house. Now, this is probably why a lot of us, like, we talk a lot about health on the show and like nutrition and things like that. And we know we probably have a lot of nutrient deficiencies, why we're lacking energy and things like that. But I never really considered that it could be our environment, the air around us that we're breathing in, and or like you said, lack thereof. Like if you start thinking about how you need air, then you're just like, oh my gosh, you're a little bit overwhelmed because we can't live without it. There's just no possible way. So my next question is, my husband and I were talking about in the near future buying a house, preferably with a little bit of land. We're thinking like, how do we, and this conversation has my head spinning here. Do I look at the, geographic location of the potential house? And then also we test all those things that you mentioned, like, in the area, but is there something you would do or share with, let's say there's a family out there, a mom listening to the show, and they're kind of in the same boat. They're like, I think we're going to buy in the near future. What do we look for in hopes, of getting a cleaner environment?
But that's a great question. I like actionable questions like that. That's the best and most important kind. So there's a lot that we can do. And the big picture thing is the dream is develop, most homes were not designed for you. They were designed on a spreadsheet by a developer who said, I'm going to buy 2,000 acres. We can build 4,000 homes. We can build them fast. Here's our cost per square foot. No one's considering your lighting and your HVAC system. And HVAC is the lungs of your home, and it's the last thing that they just bang in there. And it's completely not even considered. And because they're rushing, all the building materials that should have an off-gassing period don't. So they basically get built and then they throw it in your house and they move you in as quickly as you can. You don't want to be, they're rushing. So nothing gets the time that it needs to off-gas. So whenever somebody buys a new home, especially if weather permits, before you move in, especially if it's a new build, open the doors, open the windows, just like let that house breathe for a week or two, or at least several days. Something is better than nothing, because otherwise that off-gassing is just going to happen into your furniture, into your carpets, into your clothing. Not a good idea.
Right.
So that's especially true for new builds or renovations. So it's funny because I got certified as a home inspector just so I could see what the training is for home inspectors. Wow. And guess what? It took 2 days. Maybe it was like a week or so, but it was like 2 actual full days. It was absolutely nothing. It was very disappointing. A lot of states and countries like Canada, actually, you don't even have to be certified, which honestly, some of the best people aren't. They actually have real life experience. They're like, I don't want to get this bullshit certification, which it completely was. I did it. I paid $4.99, did a few online videos, and voila, I was a home inspector.
There you go.
So when you hire a home inspector, they have the contract that you sign basically says that they're not looking for anything environmental, mold, floods, leaks, bacteria, none of it. They're looking for something that's going to have a cost to your wallet, like an old furnace, an old water heater, an aged roof. So they're looking for things that are going to be harmful to your wallet and harmful to the house itself. Home
Mm,
inspectors are not trained to say, is this home healthy for me to raise my family in? I'm
mm.
like, how crazy is that?
That's
We're paying
That is
money.
crazy.
Like, they're not even looking for anything. They're not looking for airflow, for CO2, for nothing. So that house could be a total sick box and they won't even comment on it, look for it. In fact, there's disclosures that say they won't mention it. And that's, it all starts kind of there. The realtor, the builder, the architect, the developer, the HVAC people, and all of these folks could make way more money by being innovative and offering a better service. So a lot of it, it's kind of like a top down and a bottom up. We need to educate trades and industries, but we also, as consumers, need to be more educated. And you get what you tolerate in life. So we have to stop buying. I mean, often it's an affordability issue and a
Hmm.
convenience issue, but like buying a cookie cutter new builder grade home is, it's not going to be good for you. Like I would rather
Yeah,
live a few minutes this way or that way than buy one of these toxic homes that always fall apart
right.
anyway. Home building is not something that's supposed to be rushed. Everybody used to build their own homes back in the day. Um, so like, it's a you can, when you buy a house, make an offer that says like, we're going to actually get an environmental assessment of that home.
Hmm.
That will look for, I would rather only have an environmental assessment to look for mold, leaks, flood. I can like check the age of the furnace and the water heater like myself.
Right, right.
And you can hire a contractor for free to
Hmm.
say, hey, I'm looking to buy this house. Can you give me, I'm probably going to buy it. We just put an offer on it. So we are buying it. Can you come to this house and give me a quote to make it good and make it new? And then you get the best home inspection of all time for free with a quote, which is a way better piece of ammunition to negotiate anyway, because it's an actual price from a contractor. So that's something, a little trick that I like, is using a contractor instead of a home inspector, and use that budget to test for other things. But yeah, I think people should, if the house, first of all, if you go into a house and it has fresheners and scents, run.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
only time people put all these scents and fresheners in homes is to cover up moldy, musty, damp smells.
That's interesting. Well, and I like how you said you get what you tolerate. And isn't that the truth though? Like we should be more aware of what we're stepping into, and not only if we're concerned about our health, our fitness, our nutrition, how much more the air that we actually breathe, right?
If those builder grade homes said free cancer on the front door, you probably wouldn't buy it. But
Right.
like, like, and if we stop buying those homes, they'll stop building them. So that to me is like, that's the top of my life's mission right there, is to
Mm,
just top down, bottom up. Companies will make what people will buy. It's if
right.
everybody stopped eating fast food, there wouldn't be fast food. Um,
Very true. Very true.
like corporations scale what the consumer desires,
Mm,
and that's a good thing and a bad thing, because
yes,
companies will actually do amazing, healthy, awesome things if the incentives are there.
exactly.
Practical stuff, yeah, that's kind of it for like home, like on the inspection side. Put that clause in that you're gonna like look for environmental stuff, look for air fresheners, look for cover ups, look for randomly freshly painted walls. Like
Mm,
everybody paints over mold and they do a cover up job. It's easy to, it's hard to fault the seller. Like they have a home, there's a little leak. They're like, we're moving anyway.
yeah, let's just patch it
Like
up really quick. Yeah.
they don't necessarily even know the
That,
extent of the mold. So they
right.
hide it up, they sell it. They're like, yeah, but like you realize like that's going to be some kid's bedroom. Um,
Right.
like either fix it or disclose it. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's tough when you're like, like that's going to cost us 30 grand to deal with that. But
Yeah.
like, it doesn't have to, because there can be more reasonable ways to do it. And like, sometimes it sucks and it is a big deal.
I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry, Mike. Like
Like, go ahead.
I like what you said. Like we, we tend to take things for face value instead of like really diving in to see like, okay, is this really truly worth it? And what you just said, this is going to be my kid's bedroom, or this, if I'm selling this property, this is going to be someone else's lifestyle. And to kind of be more aware of the environment around us. I want to really quick, because we're running out
We
of
got a minute
time a little bit.
36.
Yeah, we're running out of time a little bit, but can you run by really, really quick where people can find you, find your product, and really just support kind of what you're doing?
So I don't really do much social media stuff. Honestly, I'm starting to do a lot more podcasts. because this is not something that we can bottle up into 10-second sound bites.
Right.
So if you have a podcast app and you type my name in, you'll hear me on more podcasts.
Yay.
I'm not doing a bunch of like Instagram-y stuff. I'm helping a lot of creators create, sleep trainers do sleep videos and pet people do pet videos. So I'd rather help educate through others, but jasper.co, JASPR.co at Jasper Co on social media, and we are drastically lowering our prices, and we are going to continue to create new products and make them more affordable. And like, we're not a huge company, so feel free to reach out, ask questions, ask about other products, ask why things like I love that we're not too big and we can still help. So feel free to hit me up, ask questions. We're here to serve. We have no customer service or salespeople. Everyone here is an air quality expert. So
amazing. Thank you so much for your time today, Mike. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.
If this episode inspired you, will you share with a friend? Remember, this podcast offers health education tips and holistic insights. Please consult healthcare professionals for personalized advice. Until next time, Mama, be bold and live well.